Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Modern Divorce Podcast. I'm your host, Billie Tarascio from Modern Law, and today I am joined by Tracy Krall, longtime friend, family law attorney, currently working with our family wizard. Tracy, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Billy. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, so Tracy used to be an attorney at Modern Law and kind of burned out on the family law practice thing, which makes a lot of sense. Many of us do. And it's so cool that you're now working still in the industry, still using all that experience with our family wizard.
Yes, I love it. I love the fact that I can use my family law background and that it is a superpower of mine over there that I have the ties and the license here, but I don't have to do the grind that you all do, where you're going to court and cases and high conflict, which makes the cortisol go up. So I'm very happy.
It does, it does. And I I use our family wizard as a parent and also as a lawyer and have been learning more about it recently and its new added features. And I don't think that all parents out there really know how to use it to its full extent. I know I didn't. So I thought it would be great if we could just kind of talk through that.
Sure, we can do that. We do have a lot of features. We're obviously best known for our messages,
Mhm.
but as you said, we have a whole suite of other features that work great and that we actually want you to use the other features to cut down on the messages because that's where you can kind of get into some conflict that we don't want you to get into. So the other features are great to utilize first and maybe the messages as a second or even a last resort in some cases.
Absolutely. And I don't think people realize that you can do that. So is it journal or moments that allows you to kind of communicate without sending messages?
Journal has two features in it. So basically, it's memories and they have also a GPS check in. So you can do, or you can put a message, I suppose, on the calendar if you wanted a notation on the calendar as well. But the journal, yes, you can take pictures, you can send a note, you can just share things, and you can make that private to the other or private to yourself, or you can share it with the other parent. So if you're just wanting to document things for yourself, just
Mhm.
in case, we
Mhm.
hope you don't end up in
Mhm.
litigation, but just in case, you can just have it in your little privacy section and you don't have to share that with the co-parent.
That is just, it's a great way to keep yourself organized, to create exhibits, to communicate with your lawyer in a very efficient, streamlined way to cut down on any back and forth stuff. So I love this. But where is it within our family wizard where you can put the insurance information, the passports, the doctor's notes, so that you've done what you need to do to communicate the information without necessarily initiating a discussion?
Right. So that's the Infobank. And again, I think that one is the most underutilized feature for whatever reason, but that allows you to even upload records. So if you had a child's IEP or immunization records or
Mhm.
or even the parenting plan order itself can go in that information bank, along with anything else, the children's size clothing, allergies, who the doctor is, who the teacher is. Some parents don't even know who the teacher is because they don't you sign the child up for school. So the info bank is a wealth of information if it's used. So you can put a ton of information in there. And that really does cut down on the back and forth. So, like, for example, if one parent is school shopping and they don't know the size shoe, they can look in the info bank first versus firing off a message where the other parent may or may not be irritated that the person doesn't know that and they think that they should know that, which causes a conflict. You go to the info bank first, all the updated sizing should be in there. Both parents can contribute to that. And it's just a great wealth of information to have at the ready. And again, this is a mobile app. So you can pull that up while you're shopping at Walmart or wherever you are, Macy's, and see that information right on your phone.
I love this because you've got a dual purpose going on here. First, you're going to save your own sanity by keeping track of all of these things that we don't remember how to keep track of, but also you're communicating it and you are demonstrating to the judge that you are being helpful, being practical, giving information. And I can't tell you how many times people ask me, how do I demonstrate that I am improving the relationship, that I am using, that I am demonstrating that I am working on proper communication and reducing conflict. This is a great tool for you to demonstrate that you are reducing conflict and being helpful.
Absolutely. I mean, how many discussions have you seen where someone doesn't have the medical insurance card and there's three letters back and forth to the lawyer saying, give me the give me the insurance card. You already have it. No, my client doesn't. Cost $1,000
Right.
just to do that little back and forth, where the Infobank would have taken care of that in about 10 seconds.
Mhm. Infobank, journals, memories. Memory sounds like it's really just to kind of positively share information.
Yes, it is. And again, like you were saying, just to show to the judge that you're being proactive as a parent, that you're not excluding the other parent. So if there was a birthday party you took the child to and father or mother wasn't able to attend, you can snap a picture showing what a great time the child had. It just keeps the other parent involved. And
Mhm.
also, I mean, it's a nice gesture. And also, if it's long distance parenting, that person would really that other parent would really appreciate that little photo, and it would only, take the other parent seconds to load that up. Really, really easy. You can tag it, you can date it. It's just, yeah, it's just for memories and just milestones.
And then when that gets uploaded, is the other parent going to get a notification?
So we do have a whole notification system. So parents can set their notifications as to how they want those to come in. So if they want to be notified about everything that's done in our family wizard, like if someone uploaded an expense or added a journal entry or requested a schedule change, you could get those push notifications constantly. You might be a parent that only wants to dial it in at 5 o'clock. Maybe you're a surgeon and you're working all day. You don't have time for that. So you can set your notifications for 5 o'clock and then they all come in at 5 o'clock and you get all that information. Totally customizable as to how the parents want to receive that information.
Love it. Love it. But that's not on you as the parent who's uploading information to make sure the other parent got it. That's on them.
That's right. And that's why they are notified that it exists, whether or not they look at it. We will know if they look at it because everything is a timestamp. So it shows when it was sent, if it was viewed. So if you have a parent that's kind of digging in their heels and not using the app, you can show that they're not very cooperative because it will show viewed or not viewed.
Right. So the reporting is just phenomenal. For the purposes of creating exhibits. And you can get reports on pretty much everything, right?
I think every single feature has a report that may be generated. Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about the calendar for a minute. In the calendar, you can put in any type of schedule, right?
Yes. So recently we added some common schedules. So we've got some common templates like a 5225 or a week on, week off. But if you have a more nuanced schedule, like, if you're a nurse or a firefighter, they have a little bit of a, more complicated schedule. You can customize your own calendar right in there at the parenting time.
Mhm.
And everything is color coded too. So as a visual, you can just see clearly who has what day. You can put special events in there, like, soccer practice or school play or whatever, and that will pop up in the calendar as well.
I really like that. You can do swap requests as well. You can keep track of if the other parent is actually using the parenting time that they have been given in their parenting plan. So we're serving a lot of purposes with the one app.
Absolutely. And that schedule change request that you just mentioned, I think is a wonderful, wonderful tool.
Mhm.
As a prior family law attorney, how many times again have you had clients just want to tweak the schedule just maybe for 1 week, but that could be 3 or 4 letters to a lawyer, or which could be again $1,000 or more, depending on how much your attorney's hourly rate is. So this is just a way for the parents to do it within the app. You
Mhm.
give a short reason why you want the swap. Maybe it's because someone's work schedule changed for that day or grandma's in town, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
And then that person, the other parent gets the notification. They can accept it or approve it or decline it, or they can propose something else.
Yeah.
And again, it just empowers the parents to take charge of their own destiny and not rely on the court system or lawyers, just themselves working it out. And if that little schedule tweak is approved, the calendar automatically changes. So they
Mm.
don't have a step two that they have to go in, could then go in the calendar. it's automatically integrated right in the calendar. So pretty awesome.
Love it. I also really like the way it gives the impression of a little bit more formality. It's just a little different than texting to say, hey, can we swap this day? Sure. It's different if you can say, listen, I made this swap request, you accepted it. Here's the record of your acceptance. And it feels a little bit more enforceable because one of the worst things is when you take the time to change the parenting plan only to have one parent yank it away.
Right, right. It holds a lot of accountability. And that's what we're kind of about also, accountability and transparency.
Mhm.
So, yeah. And if you have a professional looking at the account, then you know that another set of eyes is already on the account. So
Mhm.
perhaps the parents better apt to go forward with actually going with what they agreed on to begin with, which
Yeah,
is the
because if you do need me to write a letter about this upcoming wedding that somebody said yes to and now they said no to, I'm going to have a better time going into your logging into your account, watching the conversation, taking that out and putting it in my letter and then sending it to the other attorney. It's just going to be more effective.
right, and just pull a report. You could just run the
Mhm.
report, and you don't even have to rely on your clients to do that. You can run the report from your professional access. So you're not relying on them to get it to you. They're busy. So you can probably do it in less time than them.
Love it. One of my personal favorite features is the expense reimbursement.
Yes, yes. It takes away the need for an Excel spreadsheet and it
Yeah.
clearly categorizes whatever expense, and each family's different. So the categories are completely customizable. Some child might have horseback riding lessons, some might have
Mhm.
softball. So
Mhm.
you can customize everything. You put in the percentage split according to your agreement or the court order.
Mhm.
And the app does the math for you, which is lovely because most people, especially lawyers, aren't good at math. So it does all the math for you. And again, everything is color coded. You can see how much is owed. And it's clear as a bell, very, very clear. And you can
Yeah.
upload a receipt right to it. So everyone's on the go these days. That's why we call it a mobile app, right? Everybody's on the go. So if you're shopping and you spend something for tuition or school clothes, whatever, take a picture of that receipt, upload that, and get that over to the other parent. Again, their notification might not be on, but it will be at some point. So, but
Mhm.
you've done your job as to notifying the other parent that this expense was made for the child, and you just put in for what goes right in the app, tells the other parent exactly how much they owe for that expense.
Yeah, it's really, really useful because each expense is either approved or declined, and then the running total just keeps going. So if you both owe each other $500, you don't necessarily have to pay, and they have to pay. You can go in and just put, resolved or whatever the button is and
Right.
start over because there's a lot of expenses when you've got just in this day and age, there's a lot of expenses and it can be very difficult to keep track of who owes who what has been approved, what hasn't been approved. They're asking for things that I don't want to pay. It was really simplified communication surrounding expenses.
That's great. And each child has their own expense.
Right.
So you can also search by what child with what expense. So also if
Mhm.
you wanted to pull up like, hey, how much did we pay for orthodontia? You can do a specific search for Johnny instead
Yeah.
of Sally. You know,
Yeah.
you can pull that up really easy in a report just so you see the running tally. You can do that for any of the expenses.
Hmm. Love it. Hey there, co parents. It's Billie Tarascio with Modern Law, and let me tell you about our Family Wizard, our preferred co parenting app. It's a game changer. I use it myself. With features like documented calls, secured messaging, shared calendars, and more, our Family Wizard makes co parenting smoother than ever. Trust me, I've seen the difference that it can make. Join the over 1 million parents and family law professionals who trust our Family Wizard to make co parenting easier. Ready to take some stress out of co parenting? Head to ourfamilywizard.com/modern law. Okay. Tell me more about the GPS check ins and why people would use that.
So the GPS check-in is just I'm not going to say one time. You have to toggle it on. So we're not following people. We are all about safety, especially domestic violence situations where we're very hyper vigilant about that. But for GPS check-ins, you would toggle your GPS locator on if you were to check in at, like, say, a parenting time exchange.
Mhm.
So a lot of people have issues with parenting time exchanges, as you know. One person says they were there, the other person says they weren't, or they're around the corner and not and purposely fudging their location. This GPS location uses a 500-yard radius. So you can't check in somewhere else and be somewhere else. So within 500 yards, it will basically tag your location and let the other parent know that you are at the exchange. You can make this private. So if you just want to accumulate quote unquote evidence for yourself, just to make a mental note, hey, I was on time, you don't have to notify that other parent, but you can do a GPS check-in just for yourself.
Mhm.
Another time where that might be helpful, what if you had a co-parent that was taking the children to Big Bear or somewhere? Instead of that parent saying, hey, we got here, they could just send a GPS check-in to the other parent. So the other parent's like, oh, cool, they got there. Everything's fine, no issues with, the car ride there or whatever. So it's, two different ways you can use the GPS check-in. And again, you just toggle that right off. So it's not following you. It cannot follow you. We're not breaching anybody's location or anyone's safety.
Well, that's only you because everybody else's app is watching everywhere we go. So I appreciate that OFW is not. The other feature that people are very excited about right now is calling and FaceTiming.
Right. Yes. Yeah, we just rolled out that feature kind of recent. So it's documented voice and video calls. So you can get the phone call like FaceTime right on the mobile phone. And it's meant for, well, either. So it's parent to parent. Some parents want to see each other. And then it's also used for virtual parenting time or check
Yeah.
in with a child that doesn't see the other parent.
Mhm.
The great thing about that is you have to consent to the actual call coming in or video. So
Mhm.
your consent has to be on. And again, that's all reportable. So if you have a parent that's leaving their consent off,
Mhm.
you can definitely run a report saying, hey, I can't make the call because my co-parent doesn't have the app on. But it also is helpful so that you don't just have it on 24/7 where a parent could abuse it by calling constantly, want to talk to the child in the middle of a workday. Not going to happen. So you can select when you are available for the call for either yourself or passing it along to the child. Everything is documented. It's
Mhm.
even documented if someone puts the call on mute
Mhm.
or turns the video off. Everything
Mhm.
is documented simply in a report.
Yeah, if you have a high conflict case and there are disagreements about access, phone calls and video calls, I think this is a no-brainer, an absolute no-brainer. And I do want to talk about cost because our Family Wizard is not the cheapest parenting app, but I think it is the most robust. And you also have the deferral programs, right?
We do. We do. Do you want me to go over the different
Yeah,
levels of packages?
sure.
Okay. So we have basically we call it a choose your own. It's $110 per year per parent.
Hmm.
That does not include the phone calls. That's the only package that does not include the phone calls.
Hmm.
The essentials package is the next one. It's about 150 per year per parent.
Hmm.
And that one includes all of the features, including calls. And then we have a premium package that is 2000, no, 2000, $216 a year per parent, unlimited calls. And then the max package is $300, and that includes all of the features plus recordings and transcripts of the calls.
Wow.
So, as you were saying, in those high conflict cases,
Hmm.
sometimes the mental health professionals want to review, the phone call that took place between parent and child. The transcripts are extra handy so that mental health professional doesn't have to sit there and go through 10 hours of recordings. They can do a search for whatever topic and they can get the transcript. Really awesome. So there are several tiers. Um, I'll talk briefly about competitors first. So, a lot of the competitors, or several of them, claim that they are free. They
Mhm.
are not really, if you look at the fine print. So, we have desktop version and we're a mobile app. So I think Talking Parents is the biggest competitor in Arizona anyway. So they claim they're free, but if you want to use their mobile app, it's $120.
Oh,
So how many people are going on the computer exclusively for their communication? Probably slim to none. You probably need a mobile app. They also have reports, but it's $50 every time you download a report.
oh my.
So those costs far exceed, really, if you're going to really use that program robustly, far exceed what we charge per year for a subscription.
Right.
As you mentioned, we do have the fee waiver. So our company is very, very generous with fee waivers. So you can get a fee waiver by if the court claims or deems you indigent, if you are receiving low bono or pro bono legal representation, if you've been on any kind of government assistance within the last 12 months.
Mhm.
And then what I tell all my professionals, if you have somebody that you really think would thrive with this app, but they're not quite meeting the criteria that we set forth in the fee waiver, just have them sign the application and send it over to me, and I'll pass it right through. We are a mission-based company. We don't want anyone precluded from using this product due to financial hardship. So we will definitely make that available. And that is the essential package. So that's the $149.99. That's the 150 package. It's not the lowest package. We give them the 150. And again, that's per year per parent.
Love it. Love it. And, I have clients who have to go get transcripts made of calls. It's
Mhm.
expensive. Every time you do that, it's expensive. And you can't just, you have to authenticate the transcription. You can't just listen to it yourself and write it out and say, this is a recording of the call. So to have the transcript from OFW gives the judge some indicia of reliability of what's actually in the transcript.
Absolutely. And everything's on our letterhead. So, all of the reports that you generate have our letterhead. If you have to subpoena us for whatever reason, that of course we have a custodian of records document, that affidavit that comes with that. So yes, it's definitely a plus.
And then with text messages, they can be doctored, emails can be doctored, emails can be faked, emails can be um I've had people who pretended they sent emails they never sent. Like, and so it's really nice with messages to just eliminate that.
Yes. So ours cannot be deleted. They cannot be modified. Once that is sent, that thing is sent. That's not going anywhere. That's documented forever. So
Mm-hmm.
we pride ourselves in doing that. And again, it just cuts out a lot of nefarious people doing crazy things with technology.
Yeah.
In our messaging, we also have tone meter. We haven't touched on,
Yes.
so I'll touch briefly on that.
Yes.
The tone meter is unique to our family wizard, and we refer to it as an emotional spell check. So again, everything's a mobile app almost. So like when you're firing off a message, sometimes you're not really thinking of how the other person may read that. So the tone meter will flag things that are or could be considered humiliating or aggressive. Obviously, like curse words, that would flag the message to the creator of that message. Now they can still send it. We're not
Mhm.
the language police. They could still
Mhm.
send it, but it should give someone pause for concern to just think, really, should I send it this way? Because this meter is telling me it can be construed another way.
Right.
So it's just a great tool just to give someone, that extra chance to maybe rephrase it.
Right. I totally use it and it's sensitive. So sometimes if I write, so and so came home and they got a bad grade on a test, so I'm thinking we need to spend some extra time on that. Depending on how I worded it, it'll say this is upsetting. This is aggressive.
Yeah.
And so then I have to think like, is there a better way to say this? And sometimes things just might be upsetting that you need to send, so and so's sick and they're throwing up, whatever. But to just get the feedback and to encourage you to pause and think, and is there a different way I'd like to say this is a great prompt.
Yeah, we think so. And again, we're trying to get these parents to be independent,
Right.
almost more business-like with their communication. It sounds
Right.
cold, but it's not because you don't want the conflict or the potential for conflict there. You wanna just parent your kids
Right.
and have a nice day. Like, you don't want most people don't want the conflict. I think
No.
there's probably a very small percentage maybe that does, whatever. But yeah, this suite of tools is for the parents to be trained, like
Mhm.
training wheels, to
Mhm.
communicate in a more business-like fashion. Take the
Yeah,
emotion
it
out of
just
it.
encourages better behavior, and specifically, it discourages bad behavior because it's easier to get caught.
Right. That's right.
Accountability, we love accountability.
Yes, yes.
Did we
Yeah.
miss any features?
We didn't. Let's see, calls, calendar, messaging. Obviously, the professional access. So, professional access is free to any professional. So, if you're a lawyer or a mental health professional or a guardian ad litem, parenting coordinators love our family wizard.
Mhm.
You can get a free account and you can access as many or as few clients that you want to. And you don't have to always be mindful and look in it all the time. You can do it at your leisure, however you want to do, but it's completely free. And I don't believe any of our competitors actually have the professional access, at least not for free. So
Yeah,
ours are completely free. And it's kind of like a friend request. You put the name of your client and it sends off hey, this person would like to connect with you, and they just hit approve, and then they can look at your account and you get a bird's eye view of what
yeah,
your client sees on a daily basis
yeah.
with our family wizard, and then the ability to pull the reports that you need or you want to see.
This makes trial prep and drafting pretrial statements so much easier. It's going to save clients so much money because if I can log in and instead of rifling through files to see what date did they send that email that was that topic, you've got the entire picture for you while you're prepping, while you're putting together that story. So, man, the money you're going to save if you are working with a lawyer and you have a high conflict custody case, I think is definitely there.
Yes, definitely. Because and how many times have you received a stack full of emails that aren't in chronological order
Right,
or aren't in subject order?
right.
And that's your billable rate for hours going through
It's
that, sifting through
difficult
that.
to put together the story, but if you can get all the data, all the reports and create exhibits while you're making your pretrial statement, while you're prepping for trial, it's a gem of a tool. Was this
It is.
created by family law attorneys?
So it's actually a funny story how this got created. So we've been around since 2000. So we've been around a long time. I think
Mhm,
people think we're a newer app, but we're not.
mhm,
So the original idea was a dad who was divorced from his wife, obviously. He remarried, she remarried. They had a blended family. They both had kids. So a lot going on. And to make things more complicated, they both worked for the airline industry. So he was like a parts mechanic and she was a flight attendant. So it was, and they weren't a high conflict couple at all, but it was a
mm,
lot of chaos.
yeah.
So they were literally exchanging a notebook back and forth with updates about the children.
Mhm.
And something got lost in translation, I believe, unfortunately, around Christmas time, and it kind of caused a little kerfuffle. And the father thought, geez, if I could figure out where a part is in another state with our internet system in about 5 minutes, why can't I figure out when I have the kids or when soccer practice is? So he had this idea for the platform. He had a family lawyer in his family, I think it was his sister, and took the idea to her. And she had it from the litigation aspect that you do, like, oh, wow, we can compile all this information really tidy and present that. So
Mhm.
she had it from a different view. She brought it to a judge in Hennepin County. So the company's based in Minnesota. So
Oh.
Hennepin County is in Minnesota.
Mhm.
And the judge had an even different perspective. So the
Oh,
judge
wow.
was used to seeing frequent flyers, as we would call frequent flyers, people post decree coming in, and he wanted to cut that down. So they did a pilot project because they built this platform. Of course, it's much more robust now, but back in the day, it was probably pretty basic. But they found that it absolutely cut down on conflict and cut down on people bringing their issues back to court.
Wow.
Because what that judge saw was that legal issues that were coming before him were really parenting issues.
Right.
That they were parenting issues about switching schedules or expenses not being paid or whatever. Those things were what was bringing them back to court. So they found that this tool completely resolve that. Well, maybe not completely, maybe that's an overstatement, but substantially reduced
Ah.
the frequent flyers from coming back to court. So kind of a cool story, but yes, family law attorney was definitely involved.
I love it. I love it. Tracy, thank you so much for coming on the show,
You're
for
welcome. Thank
sharing the
you.
product. I'm happy you're back in Phoenix.
You too.
Good to see you. And if you all have enjoyed this episode, make sure to like it, download it, share it with your friends. Check out the app, check out the website. If you need help with a fee waiver, reach out to me. I'll reach out to Tracy. We'll make it happen.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Tracy. Have a great day.
Thanks, Billy. Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the Modern Divorce Podcast. Remember, anything you've heard today or anything you read online is not the replacement for actual consultation with an attorney and does not create an attorney-client relationship. Even if you called in and we spoke to you, you were anonymous and we don't have your details and you have not become a client of Modern Law. However, we would love to speak with you, or you should seek out the advice of legal counsel or counseling or any other expert near you. And if you have an idea for a show topic or you need to speak with an attorney in Arizona, you can reach me at info@mymodernlaw.com.